authors and book lovers alike. This is Lauren Carr, and I am with Authors on iTours. And welcome to our Friday Brown Bag Lunch. Today, we are interviewing Sarah Sommer, whose children's picture book is currently on tours with Authors on iTours. And we have the link down below in our description to her tour page and also to her website. Sarah Sommer is an award-winning children's picture book author, and she blends her love of music and animals and positivity into her books. Currently, she is touring My Cat is Blue, who is having a fabulous tour with Irie Book Tours. Now, she had trained in classical music and performed internationally as a professional clarinetist. So therefore, rhymes and lyrics are an important part of her writing style. She is an advocate for animals, as seen in her work of fostering German Shepherds. As a matter of fact, that might be why we're like a couple of seconds late, because we were talking about German Shepherds, because I have two. And as a result, animals are always a central part of her stories. Sarah aims to include encouraging themes such as helping others as in her narratives, and basically the message that we all need a little help sometime. So without any further ado, we are bringing in Sarah Sommer. Hi, Sarah.
Hi, thanks for having me.
And you notice her book cover right behind her and her blue balloons, and we have the blue theme. That's our blue background today. So Sarah, tell our readers a little bit about why is your cat blue? And where did that come from?
Sure. So the book plays on the color blue representing sadness. So it's a little bit of that play on word. It's meant to talk about sadness and the impact it has on not only the person who's going through the grief, but the people around them trying to support and help them, and how sometimes you can feel powerless when someone you care about is going through a tough time and you're trying everything to help, but you're not always the answer to their problem. And I wanted to touch on that experience of going through pet loss to give children and parents a conversational tool to talk about that if they're going through it, or really any other big tough time in that family. You know, maybe a child is watching a parent struggle through something and they really want to help, but you know, a little kid can't help you out of bankruptcy. You know? It's hard. So I want to touch on those kind of themes and topics. And of course, I'm an animal lover, so it had to have an animal in it. I actually don't have a cat, but I thought the cat would be perfect for this type of role, because I feel like cats are really expressive with their feelings, that, so to speak. And I just thought it would be a really good fit. So I want to show it to you real quick. So this is the cover here that you can see behind me, but it plays on the color blue, and the blue even spreads throughout the book. So you'll notice that it starts off in more of a black and white fashion. So so only the cat is blue. But as it evolves, some of the other people will turn blue as well. And eventually we do get to full color here. So it evolves with the color scheme and sharing that contagious nature of the sadness, and that notion that you can overcome the sadness too and get back to color and back to life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, some of the bloggers who've been reviewing your books, they've commented on, they really liked that idea of how you transitioned from black and white and the blue to the full vibrant colors at the end. You know, and I like the title. I don't think of My Cat is Blue, because I don't think it'd work if My Dog is Blue. I don't think that would have worked as well. Though people do say that dogs, you know, can be quite expressive. You said that, you know, just generally people, did you have a pet loss, or what was the is there a particular story that inspired you to tackle this theme, or is it maybe just the times that we're in that inspired you?
Sure. I have gone through the loss of it was a long-term foster dog that was really tough on me. She was battling cancer for a year. And that was the first time I had to make that tough decision with a pet. as an adult, and that really stuck with me. It was tough to grieve through that, but this book really comes from a lot of different places in my mind. It comes from, of course, the literal pet loss, but it also comes from, me watching a lot of my friends go through tough times, and we all say those things like, let me know if you need help,
and then you kind of wish they don't. You kind of hope they don't.
Yeah, but it's really hard when a friend is struggling through something, and like I can't help you with your love crisis, health crisis, financial crisis. I'll be here for you if you want to talk. But it's things like that, and there are times where I ask myself this question all the time: am I the cat or the little girl? And it really depends, because sometimes I feel like the little girl watching other people go through tough things, and sometimes I feel like the cat that just sometimes I'm having a tough day. I think we all struggle with sadness. I think it's something that is very real and common and okay, and should be okay to talk about, instead of just saying I'm fine all the time.
Yeah,
sometimes we really
I don't want to say just because you don't want to be a burden on that.
Right.
Yeah. Now you had touched on that, that animals can actually be blue or sad sometimes. You and I were talking before, which was why we were just like about a minute late. We were talking about like you and I are both big animal lovers. I've always had pets in my life. And, recently, like a couple of years ago, probably about 4 years ago, I had a German Shepherd who died of cancer. And that was really tough. And that was how I ended up with Sterling. But, there's a pet who's left behind who, they actually do feel the loss. They feel the loss. I've heard stories of whenever one would die, that other dogs would actually be howling. But they're kind of, they're a little lost because that's a member of their family that they suffer sometimes.
Right. And I wanted to showcase that, the impact it has on every facet of their life. The book touches on the lack of desire to eat or play or be friendly with others, that just isolation and loneliness that comes with grief.
Yeah. So now what is the main takeaway that you want, the readers to take away from the book?
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, I hope that parents are able to use it as a helpful tool about starting discussions about emotions, but especially for anyone in a particular grief type situation, for them to be able to talk and discuss about sad feelings or grief situations. But I'm also hoping that the children will see that you can overcome sadness. It is just one of many emotions, that they do change, they evolve, they shift from person to person. That you can overcome it. There is help around you. There are people who are in your corner supporting you. I have a lot of takeaways.
Well, and it helps them to be more emphatic of other people's emotions around them. And that now there are sometimes though, where I guess you hear about this, well, it isn't. I guess it is proven that some people, like depression, where it's a little bit more than just being blue. Do you get into that at all, or is this just general sadness that you can get over?
This perspective, or this book, is meant to handle the perspective of more temporary grief, related to maybe more of a specific incident. Of course, if you're going through something really tough, you probably need a doctor, but certainly it's meant to just at least open that discussion. To me, this was a very bold choice to go with a book that is heavily grayscale in color, when kids' books are generally full of color. And to talk about something that is not just happy magic and dragons and Candyland, right? It's meant to talk about this other side of life that I think is very real for people still.
Hmm. Well, how did you come up with that? The design of the blue and the black and the grayscale. Did you come up with that whenever you were planning this book, or was that something that came to you after you wrote the book? Can you talk a little bit about the process of putting together a children's? Because you're an award-winning children's picture book author, so you've been through this more than once. What is the process that you go through whenever
Yeah,
you
of course.
book idea?
Yeah, and so I'll just give you a quick little peek at it. This was the first one, the Goose on the Roof. That's kind of my cute, funny one. This was my second one, Animals at the Office, just my spoof on working in an office. But yeah, for My Cat is Blue, it did take years.
Oh, okay.
That is the first takeaway. I think to really get through any book properly, you go through a lot of edits, a lot of rewrites, a lot of collaboration too. I don't do this on my own. I have a wonderful, talented illustrator, Bulankinaka from Russia, who helped me with this one in particular. She's brilliant. I found her on social media. I kept liking all of her work. Reached out to her. So, so I mean, I worked with a bunch of different editors and did a lot of rewrites. And to your point, I didn't initially have the full final concept upon first draft. No. Initially,
things like they are in the first draft.
No. No, it was a little different on the first draft, but as I started going, and sometimes the best ideas came from blocks. Like one of the big things I notice with kids' books is sometimes you run into people who've already written that title. You may have already done all your work independently, and then you realize there's a really similar, and it could even be a coloring book or a T-shirt series. But like when you end up realizing that your idea is different from their idea, but you share the same title or branding.
Yeah, whenever I come up with a book title, I actually Google it before I crack down on it to see. Right. Sometimes you can, some people come up with a title that they think is really great, and then you go and Google it or go onto Amazon and put it in a search, and you see that there's like a dozen titles by that. Now, I had a friend who, and it was a cozy book mystery, and she put it in and found like every 2 years a book came out with that same title, so she had to go to a different title. So you found that somebody else was using My Cat is Blue?
No, initially I was thinking of something along the lines of My Cat is Sad. I liked that A vowel sound carrying through, but I think there was even a Dr. Seuss book on a similar topic, and it just wasn't a good fit, and I started rethinking it, and that's kind of when the color combo came up, and I just thought it could be something even bigger and transformative with the color usage. And
and I like that, that because there's a breed that, the cat's blue, sort of a bluish. So that's what I thought it was whenever you first came to me for a tour. My Cat is Blue. I thought, you're talking about Russian blue cats. That's what I thought it was. I didn't realize it was the emotion that you were talking about, because blue is an emotion.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, now it's got me thinking about what other colors and emotions I can do.
So start another series. So
we'll see. Yeah.
Okay, so you came up with? Did you come up with the title before you wrote the actual book, or did you write the book and then? While you used blue throughout the book.
No, I like to write the book, and then I generally have a title in mind, but I don't want to spend too much time researching titles if the actual manuscript is a flop, because I've got plenty of those manuscripts sitting on my computer that are, cool ideas, but when you actually put pen to paper and then read it later, you go, I don't think they're going to like this. I like to get the manuscript in a really good place and then kind of tweak the title from there, because sometimes the title comes almost from your text too.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's, and I think most people, they do come up with the title after having written the book, because then everything gels together. Okay, so you write the book. How long does it take you to write the book? Because with a children's picture book, the pictures are really important.
Mhm.
So how long does it actually take you to write the manuscript?
So
Probably embarrassing, because it probably takes a really tiny fraction compared to the pictures.
honestly, it's not as short of a time as you might think, just because with picture books, at least with mine, I ran into two complicating factors. Is that with picture books, you are very limited on words. You can't be overflowing with your language. You really have to concise it down, not only for children, but for the illustrations, for the length of the book. You have so few words to get across this deep story. So you have to be really focused
and,
on
and it has to be age appropriate.
Yep.
Yeah, because I've seen some reviews, not for you, but for other children's pictures books with other, that there were some words that they thought were too old for the kids.
Sure.
Yeah. So you have to keep that age group in mind.
Right. You're writing a story that some people would take many pages to write, and you have to concise it down into under 500 words, and so you have limited text. But then for me, I'm also rhyming at the same time, and that really narrows down what you could do. Like when I get an editor comment on one sentence, it usually means a rewrite of the whole, of like 2 or 3 pages, because I can't just replace one word and have everything flow the same. Everything from just going from a 1-syllable word to a 2-syllable word changes the whole flow. So now that takes a long time. I would say I can probably knock out a first draft of something in a weekend, but the editing will take me months.
Oh. And at what point do you start looking for, now you have an illustrator you're working with rather regularly now. Well, what point do you bring in the illustrator?
Only until I'm completely done. Yeah, because at that point, the illustrations are really at the very end. When you are, by that point, you already know where you're going to place the text and what text is going to be on what page. And outside of maybe a couple small changes, like maybe changing a double page spread to a single page spread or something, it's pretty much laid out at that point.
So how long, like for My Cat is Blue, how long did it take for you to get between the time that you finished your manuscript and the book was actually published? How long were you working with the illustrator?
Oh, well, my illustrator was great. A typical illustrator does have a backlog, so it's not uncommon to wait a year for your illustrations to be started or done. But she was definitely on schedule. I loved working with her. But the process, to give you an idea, I launched this book October 5th, 2021, so just a couple days ago. But I had the final designs last summer in 2020.
Oh.
So, that's how long it's just taken to get it to print even. It's
because it's hardback. Your book is hardback. Not hardback. Yeah.
Every stage of the process requires months. There's that editing phase, there's the focus on me, more like the editing, the writing. Then you move into a lot of the illustrations, and that's more on the illustrator, but then you have to put it all together, and everybody needs time. The designers need time, the ebook converters need time, the distributors need time, the printers need time, it needs like 3 to 6 months. So it takes years to get to this point, but I'm really proud of this one.
Mm-hmm. Now, there's different types of illustrators that, and I see this from the children's books. Now, is yours done by computer? Does she work with computer? Now, I actually years ago worked with a children's book author who his illustrator did watercolors, actual sitting there with a paintbrush, and then, then they were scanned in, into how does she do? Because it looks like there's maybe like some sort hers is maybe she does hers on computer.
Yeah, it is computer driven. And one of the interesting things about it is through the process of getting everything in the right format, she shared with me how her technique was she created the book in full color, and then she converted it into the grayscale. So she had a color and a black and white version of all pages. And it was fascinating to see, because there were some moments where I would see a really early on in the book black and white image and see it in the color version and go, oh, wow, your color choices are so beautiful. I kind of want to use the color. So it's, but what it does is it allows for easier updating, because when she can send me a draft and I say something like, oh, the table looks way too big on that page, she can easily shrink it without having to redraw the entire page. And to be able to swap colors like that, or tone up the green or tone down the blues, like it's things that she can do with a click of a button, so to speak. But it's pretty cool to see.
Yeah. Now this is a totally different style. I mean, I'm just going by my impression. My Cat is Blue looks totally, and she's the same illustrator who did Animals at the Office. Nope, she's not.
No, I've actually used 3 different illustrators, and not at all related to them and their work. It's that I really want to find the illustrator that fits the theme of the book. Okay. My books are so far have been very different from each other, and so that's why I select different illustrators. Because case in point with this book, I was chatting with one of my earlier illustrators, and she said her specialties were animals and bright colors, and she didn't really focus on people. It's like, well, this book is mostly black and white and features a number of people. So like, this isn't, it's not working to your specialty. So I really like to find people that fit the book style. And blame me if you don't like how they're all different. I guess that's I like to write different things, but yes, I try and make it a good fit between the book and the art.
Well, now tell us a little bit then, because so My Cat is Blue is about the emotions that you touched on Animals at the Office. Tell us a little bit about that. Do you have a copy that you can show people the cover?
Yeah.
See, and that is totally different from My Cat is Blue. What's that about? Tell us about that.
Yeah. So and I want to show the art briefly.
Yeah.
Because it's hand drawn with Sharpie markers.
Oh, okay. So that is not computer generated then.
No, and you talk about that one shot, lengthy, time consuming production of an illustration. That's that book. She is a local artist to me here in Illinois. We met through networking. She's fantastic. Her name is Devin. She is an artist as well. She does comics, and she has a fabulous fluffy cat that is that I hope to meet and have a little cat promo video with My Cat is Blue. But
and is her cat blue?
No. Her cat's white, a long-haired white cat. But that book is Animals at the Office. It tells the story of a gator on his first day at the office, and he's trying to fit in, and he isn't really sure how to act, so he tries to replicate everyone else's personalities. And the personalities are a play on some of those stereotypes of personalities you might see in an office. The kind of brown-nosing dog, or the super promotion hungry, aggressive hawk, so it plays on their natural animal tendencies, but maybe some of those personalities you may have worked with as well. So if anyone works in an office, you'll get it and you'll laugh.
Well, now you're a clarinetist, or you used to play the clarinet. Do you still play the clarinet?
I still play. I primarily play my secondary instrument, the saxophone. I did play clarinet professionally for a while. I lived in New York City and traveled the world for a while. And then I decided to settle down a bit more, have a more stable job. So I went back to school for accounting. And now I work the corporate world.
That was what I was leading to. Have you worked in the office that you meet these people? Because, I've worked in the office too, and there are, no matter what office you go to, there's these people who fit into these little animal roles.
Right.
There.
It's meant to be funny. It's the opposite of my cat is blue. Yeah.
Oh, it's meant to be funny. Okay. Now, what about the goose on the roof? Show us that. Now, this is your first one?
Yes.
What was your inspiration for that?
This
and
one
tell us what that is about.
A bit more literal in terms of, I live in the Midwest. I do see geese on the roofs all the time. I see them in parking lots, blocking the sidewalk. I see them everywhere. And I just think they are a really opinionated, funny, quirky animal. They just have so much attitude. And I had to write something about them. And so I came up with this story in my head of this little girl who has a goose on her roof and he won't stop honking. So in an effort to figure out why and get him down, she starts asking all the local animals around her, can you help? Can you help? And they all come up with their own potential solutions, except they get into trouble themselves. And then now she not only has a goose on the roof, she's got all these other animals running around causing trouble, and now she has more than one problem to unwind. So I wanted that to be kind of my quirky scenarios type book.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, and geese can be. I like to tell this story. I used before my husband, gentleman who I was dating, and he was like an amateur photographer, and he was actually taking pictures of some geese out on a lake. And this one goose came swimming in, and he's saying it's coming closer and closer, and he's snapping and snapping, and the goose comes out of the water, walks up, and actually bites him in the butt. So he realized he's coming after me, and he really was a camera shy goose. He really was, and he had action pictures of this goose. Oh. He has snappy pictures of it, and he's running away from this goose. They can be quite opinionated.
Oh, yeah. And what was fascinating to me about that is people started sending me all their pictures of every time they would see a goose on a roof. It was fantastic for me to just see these coming in, because I thought, I wasn't imagining this. This really does happen. And
these geese just get on the roof. Are they on their way? Are they on their way south for the winter, or on their way north for the summer months, or
all of the above? Sometimes they tend to hang around here during the warmer months. It does get cold in the winter, so they tend to migrate. But yeah, they'll sit on top of shopping centers and just honk at you. Or a photographer friend of mine sent this beautiful artistic photo of this goose sitting on top of a farm silo, and it was so picturesque. I think it's just a good landing spot, good viewpoint.
Yeah, good viewpoint that they can see. Now, are you getting pictures of people's blue cats now?
I hope so. I really hope to start getting inundated with cat pictures now, because I know I'm more of a dog person, but I love cats. I used to cat sit as a kid. Nothing against them. I like both cats and dogs. But I'm kind of hoping that people will flood me with cat photos.
Well, I noticed your tour, because your tour started on Tuesday. Was it Tuesday your tour started? Yes. And you're already getting, and I notice in the reviews that you're getting in the blog posts that people are writing their stories about their animals. A lot of the bloggers are already writing about that. And this book made me cry because my cat died 3 years ago. So people, it just brings people together. So that's the thing with animals, is that they do because, people who like animals, it sort of draws them together.
Right. I am a big believer in the concept that pets are family. Of course, like a child, there have to be rules.
Yeah.
But certainly, I think that they're a big part of our lives and that we do care about them and love them deeply. And I think that they themselves bond with each other and they bond with us and they can feel as well. I think animals do have feelings. And so,
which is another message in your book, for children, that they do have feelings.
Right. There is a page in this book that every time I read it, I tear up. And I just hope that other people see that and get that. This, maybe not everyone needs the book, but but to me, it's really special. I'm really proud of it. I've been challenging myself a lot, to try and keep writing and keep getting better. And to me, this one's just really personal and emotional. And I just hope other people see that and understand it. And for the person who needs it, that I hope it provides them a little bit of hope and inspiration.
Mm-hmm. Well, now where can people get My Cat is Blue? Where is that available? For people who are watching this who want to go get their own copy?
Yeah, thanks. Please do. It's primarily available online. Of course, the big major retailers that you're probably thinking of, the Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Books A Million. You can also support local through ordering in advance through any of your local bookstores. All you have to do is just go in and ask them to pre-order it for you, because then they can ship it usually to you or to the store. There's also a website called bookshop.org that helps to support indie bookstores as well. So if you're looking for more of the indie circuit, check out bookshop.org or go to your local bookstore. And then my favorite, of course, little plug for the publisher, if ordering directly from Mascot Books helps me a lot if you're looking to just support local authors.
Oh, okay.
So, that's on Mascot Books. But of course, my website has all the major links. Or if you want to check out any social media handles or anything, or get email updates, my website is sarahsommer.com. That's Sarah with an H and Summer with an O. So feel free to check me out if you're looking to get more info or hopefully future books.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. All right. And what are you working on now, Sarah? So that we know what to look for.
Yes. Well, I have the fourth book. It's all drafted and edited and done. I was just hoping to make it through this launch first.
Oh, okay.
Before I jump into illustrations, but it's my foster dog book.
Oh.
It seems like the obvious choice, but I think because it's so personal to me, I foster German Shepherds. This is my fourth one I'm fostering right now. And it's really important to me, but it's also really tough because, every time you have to let them go and you go through a lot of sickness and tough times. And so I post about my foster dogs on social media a lot, and people started commenting like, where's our foster dog book? Well, I finally wrote it last year, and I'm just kind of waiting to take that big leap of faith to really make it a reality. But that would be the next one, hopefully, unless they start doing a whole series of emotion books.
Oh, yeah, other callers for other emotions. Yeah, see, I can't foster dogs. I would just everyone would be a fail. I mean, and I'd end up with 10 dogs here. I was telling Sarah, before we started that I have my 2 German Shepherds are both rescues. So, and beautiful, nice dogs, but they're members of the family. I think we're going to disinherit my son and leave everything to them. That's what I keep threatening. Okay, so Sarah, you are right now on tour. My Cat is Blue is on tour with iRead Book Tours, and it's doing fabulous, getting wonderful reviews. So I invite everybody to come to iReads to check out some of the blogs and some of the blog posts and the guest posts and that we have on you. So, and thank you so much, Sarah, for coming today and having lunch with us. So, and and we're, I'm encouraging everybody to go check out My Cat is Blue. Okay, well, thank you very much, Sarah. Thank you for having lunch with us today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Okay, all right, and we'll see you later.